welcome to The Feast Life. I'm your host, Julie Ross, and today I have a special bonus episode for you. This is a clip from the recent goal setting class that I did. If you would like to purchase the whole goal setting class, which is over 3 hours of amazing content to help you reflect on the past year, to create a vision and a dream of what's possible for your future, and then to create actual goals and a plan to make that dream possible, you can still get access to the replays from this class by purchasing the Feast Life Planner. And so we'll have a link to that in the show notes. And once you purchase the planner, it has your goal setting pages in it, and you will get a link to the replays from this goal setting class. So I hope you enjoy just this little clip, and it will help you as you plan and prepare for 2024. All right, welcome everyone to the goal setting retreat. If you have not printed out the workbook, that's okay. It was sent in the email, and the link is also up there in the chat if you want to go find it. And really all you need is a pen and a piece of paper for what we're going to be working through today. I love teaching this stuff so much because I have seen the power in my own life about working through this process that we're going to work through. It's the new year coming up. People like to write New Year's resolutions. Well, here's the deal. 95% of people never meet their New Year's resolution. 95% of New Year's resolutions go unfulfilled. Why is that? Well, most of the time people just pick some kind of arbitrary thing and they don't take the time to really think about what it is they actually want and how to actually get there. I have a friend who's visiting, and so while I'm talking to you, she wanted to walk down to a coffee shop. I'm not in my hometown. I actually rented an Airbnb down in Charleston, South Carolina, so I could focus and work through this process with you. And so she came to visit me, and she's like, I don't know where any coffee shops are around here. So we pull up Google Maps, and we type in coffee shops. What's the first thing you need to put in? What your location is, right? You can't find where you want to go. You can't get to where you want to go if you don't actually know where you're starting from. And so many people focus on, okay, I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to go on a trip to Europe. I want to organize my garage. And they're so future focused, but they never take the time to go, wait, where am I actually starting from? We want to take a step back and work through this process and really be intentional about the goals that we're setting. And then you have a much higher likelihood of actually achieving those things. One, because you know where you were starting from, and you choose goals that are actually aligned with your values, which keeps you motivated and wanting to move forward. The first page in your workbook is a letter to yourself. This is just fill in the blanks, or you can just actually write a letter to yourself. But I want you to, you don't need to do it right now, but take some time to fill that out, or just journal and write a letter to yourself if you don't like the fill in the blank thing. You need to make a commitment that you're going to work through this process. What happens when you make a commitment to yourself and you keep it? It actually builds your confidence, which is going to help you start to achieve some of these things that you want to in your life and start to achieve some of these goals. So I can keep promises to myself. I can keep this commitment to myself. So you're making this commitment that you're going to work through these next 3 days. If you can't come live, when are you going to watch the replays? When are you going to actually sit down with your journal, fill it out? Don't leave it blank just because you think it looks cute. Actually write in it and make a plan for where you want to get to in 2024. So the first thing is I'm making a commitment to myself. Okay. Then the next step is to reflect on this past year. Oftentimes we don't want to do this. Like I said, thinking about the future is fun. The future hasn't actually happened yet. I can plan and dream and just focus all my time on that and not actually know where I'm starting from, because sometimes looking back in the rearview mirror can be painful, right? Especially if you had some really hard things that happened this year. And most of the time we don't actually want to feel our hard feelings. We don't actually want to experience those uncomfortable emotions. So we just, numb out. And one of the ways that we can do that is by focusing on the future, or busying ourselves, or filling our time up with a million other things other than actually taking this time to really reflect. So once when we can sit down and reflect, we can learn so much. But when we just keep moving forward and we never take the time to pull over and go, wait, where am I? Where am I starting from here? We're just so focused on the direction that we're moving towards, sometimes we need to pull off the side of the road. And I don't know if you've ever used Google Maps where you're out in the middle of nowhere and it takes a while for it to find the satellite signal and go, oh, wait, you're here. This is where we're starting from. Now we can give you directions to this place. So we're going to work through that together on this call. So the first step is to reflect on, like I said, the past year. So what I want you to do is get a journal, piece of paper, whatever you have, a back of some page in your planner if you have it, whatever you want to write on, okay? I want you to just write out the months on this piece of paper. So January, February, March, blah, 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 blah. And if you have your phone, that would be super helpful. Otherwise, you might have to do this from memory, which can be very hard because our brains can tend to forget some things, especially if you're getting to be my age. So we're going to go through your phone if you have it. Otherwise, just think about it. And we're going to look through the past year. And what I want you to do is I want you to write down all of the happy memories and things that you're grateful for each month. So you could look at your phone, looking at your calendar, if you have a printed calendar or in your Google Calendar, because like I said, we can forget so many things. And so I went to the beach the other day here in Charleston and I sat down and I did this practice. I went through each month. I went through my phone. I wrote out, oh, I forgot. I had lunch with that lady from church that week. That was really cool. Oh, I forgot. We went on that day trip and we hiked in that park. Now there were some big things that happened, right? And I didn't forget those. Like we went and saw Taylor Swift in March. That was a huge win and a happy memory in my life. My daughter graduated from college in May. I mean, huge things, right? And so those were already in my head, but I forgot so many little things. And we need to take the time to appreciate these little things because it's these little things that add up to our whole life. It's not always these big, huge mountaintop events, right? Like Taylor Swift. And if you have been using a Gentle Feast and you have the teacher book that goes with it, I encourage you at the end of every week to write down your wins. You could go back and look through that. Timmy finished this book that he didn't want to read and he read the whole book. That's huge, right? That's a win. That's something to be grateful for. So we're going to spend a few minutes, just 5 minutes here, working through this process. But I do encourage you to keep going with it. This is a great thing to ask your kids, ask your spouse, like just go through the whole year, look at pictures together and rejoice together. Be like, oh my goodness, what was your favorite thing that happened in March? And get them in this spirit of celebrating and being grateful for so many things. It's having this gratitude and having our hearts full is the way that we want to approach setting our goals and moving into the future. Okay, so take 5 minutes and go through your year and write out the things that you're grateful for and the wonderful memories that you have. All right, I'll give you all one more minute. All right, so let's bring it back. And again, keep going with this. Isn't this so fun? Take time, meet with your family. You know, if you can find some time to be out by yourself in nature in the next week or so and keep doing this, it is so restorative and so healing. What happens is, like, let's say you see somebody and they're like, hey, I haven't seen you in a year. How was your 2023? So our first reaction most of the time is, oh, yeah, it was pretty good. But see this happen, and then there was this, oh, this was really hard. Our brains naturally go to the things that are wrong, right? And the things that were struggles. And we have to train our brain to find the good. And so that's what this practice is doing, because there's so much good things that are always happening, right? And we get to see the goodness of God continually, but we can miss it if we don't take the time to actually reflect on it. And we just move from one year to the next. So it's so important to take the time to do that. So does that mean that we don't actually look at any of the hard things that happen in the year? And like, we're not just going to be Pollyannas, right? Yes, I know we all had hard things that happened, right? What I want to encourage you to do, and we're going to work through this together, is how can we reframe the story for some of those hard things that happened? So this might have happened to you actually during the holidays, if you're around extended family and someone's telling a story about something And someone interrupts them and be like, oh, no, you got that wrong. That wasn't Aunt Susie that said that. That was Uncle Carl that said that. Oh, wait, no, that didn't happen in 2016. That happened in 2008. Or no, that didn't happen at grandma's house. Has that ever happened to you where you're arguing about the details of a story because you remember it one way, but somebody else remembers it completely different? And you both have the main gist of the story, but it's those like little details, right? That one person can see something totally different than another person can. And so when we're looking back on experiences that happened, we have a story that we have told ourselves. We've given meaning to the events or the circumstances that have happened to us in the past year. But we have the possibility to reframe and change how we see those things. Just to give you an example, at the beginning of December, I had someone steal checks out of my mailbox and forged different amounts on the checks and cashed them and stole several $1,000s out of my checking account. And of course, it was devastating because it was right before Christmas. My bank was very not kind in trying to get my money back or help me with it. And I had to do all the stuff with the police and everything. At the end of all of that, it was like, oh, man, that was really hard. I do not recommend that for anybody. It was very traumatic and stressful and not really something I wanted to be dealing with right before Christmas. Yes, it's all good now. The bank finally gave me my money back last week, which I'm very, very, very grateful for. So instead of going, oh, that was so hard, or, oh, I can't believe someone would do that to me, or, oh, I don't feel safe anymore, or things like that I was telling myself about it, I realized, okay, I need to reframe how I'm looking at this story. And so I said to myself, what did I learn about myself because of what happened? So this is such a key question. I'm going to say it again. When you're looking back at the year and the things that were hard, or the things that happened that you didn't like, or the things that happened that you didn't want to happen, right? Because we're human, it's going to happen to us. Different things and different experiences and different circumstances. What did I learn about myself because of what happened? How did I grow or change because of what happened? So for me, I can be a people pleaser and have a hard time sometimes standing up for my needs and what I want. And I really had to fight the bank on this and talk to multiple people. And I want to talk to your supervisor and not back down. And it took several weeks of that, which was very uncomfortable. And I don't like conflict. And I learned about myself that I can do hard things, that I can fight for what is right. And I won't back down or give up when it comes to my family. That's pretty awesome. I'm like, oh, Julie, yeah, you're a baddie. Look at what you just did. Oh my goodness, girl. Yes. So instead of being like, oh my goodness, this horrible thing happened in December this year and blah, 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 blah. I was like, that's so great that happened, because now I've learned how to stand up for myself. Not that I want that to happen again, right? And I'm not like deceiving myself of like, oh, that was just like a walk in the park. That was so wonderful. No, it was really hard, but I can be grateful for it. I can see the good in it. And that's one of the things that I've had to learn is life is always happening for me, not to me. What can I learn from this experience? How can I grow and change? Because that really is what life is about. You're never going to have a perfect year. I'm just going to let you know that right now. Just so we have all the same expectations. No amount of goal setting or classes or anything is going to make 2024 a perfect year, because that's not realistic. We're humans. Things are happening. We live in a sinful world, right? Things are always happening that we can't control sometimes. But we always have the opportunity to grow and learn from it. And if we do that, then that year is a success. So as you're looking back on the past year and you're looking in the rearview mirror and you're thinking about the things that were hard, I want to encourage you to say, what did I learn from that? How did I grow? How did I change? Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Feast Life podcast. Until next time, remember, life is a feast. Let's savor it. And if today's episode was helpful for you, you might be interested in joining a coaching course that I'm starting at the end of January called the Confident Homeschool Mom. In order to find out more about that, go to thefeastlife.me/join. Again, in order to find out more about my coaching course, The Confident Homeschool Mom, go to thefeastlife.me/join.